Afternoon. I, Dr. Mansi Patel, will take your practical on blood banking. Today's practical competency are 22.1, 22.2 and 16.7. In this we will include first of all 22.1, which will first of all we will classify different types of blood group system. Then we will mention the importance of Rh factor, and third one will be describe about the Bombay blood group and its clinical importance. Then fourth, we will describe about the ABO and Rh incompatibility. Fifth, we will discuss about mention different methods of blood grouping, and then we will demonstrate the same. This will be done by my president. First of all, how you will classify any blood group system? So they are classified according to the antigen which is present on the RBC, and the relevant antibodies will be there either in the plasma or in the serum. And normally all the blood group system which will included, they are all inherent differences will be there, and according to the where the RBC antigens which will there on the surface, according to that the grouping will be done. Amongst them, the most common is the ABO grouping, which have specific glycosyl transferase that add sugar to the basic precursor substance, and because of that there is a ABO specificity. Okay, and the most common blood group of human is ABO, so that will be in detail. There are different type of blood group systems. The main one is the ABO system, RH system, Lewis system, T system, LI system, MN system, SS system, Phi, KID, L, Lutheran, XG system, IT system, Dombrok system, Colton system, Diago system, Carvrit system, Shiana, Garbik, Hima, North, Indian system, OK system. So there are around 23 different type of blood group. Yes, you don't need to remember all of them, but you should know 10 to 15 other type of blood group else than ABO grouping. Now, why the Rh is important? It is important because humans do not naturally inherit Rh antibody, but if the Rh negative person will receive the Rh positive blood from the donor, then it will lead to development of antibody. Generally, it is not present, okay? Which later on, successive transfusion leads to development of severe Rh antigen antibody reaction. Okay, that is TTR, one type of TTR. Normally, the transfusion reaction will be of ABO incompatibility, but on successive transfusion, Rh incompatibility can occur. Okay, so for that, the recipients are classified as Rh negative, where the donors are classified as Rh positive. And because the DU variant will be there, it will be there in the donor, okay, that will come into the patient's antibodies. Okay, they will form the antibodies, and our successive transfusion can lead to reaction. Now, normally the mother of Rh positive, okay, or recommended DU variant infant to prevent the potential immunization in Rh negative mother, because if the baby is Rh positive, then on successive another birth of baby, the reaction can occur. Now, normally 80% of Rh negative person exposed to Rh positive blood will develop the NTD. NTD can be stimulated in pregnancy or with an Rh positive baby. Rh negative females of childbearing potential should never be given Rh positive blood component. Now, another one is we will discuss about the Bombay blood group. So they have general characteristic, that is there is absence of H, A and B antigen on the RBC surface. They do not have any antigen. There is a presence of anti-A, anti-B and wide thermal range of anti-H in the serum. There is A, B, H non-secretors, and there is absence of alpha-2 fucosyl transferase. Then it also have the strong reactivity with anti-I reagent, and there is a successive mode of inheritance. They are the successive mode. OH will not react with any anti-H lactine, and it is compatible with only another Bombay individual because they don't have ABC on RBC antigen, as well as in their serum they have all the three antibodies. Okay, so even O positive or O negative blood cannot be given to the Bombay blood group patient. Significance is they have anti-H, which is active over the wide thermal range, and it is a IgM type of antibody, which is a complete type, and they can bind with the complement and cause red cell lysis if another type of blood group has been given. Because of A antigen is common to all ABO blood group, Bombay blood group is incompatible with all ABO donors. In routine forward grouping using anti-A, anti-B and anti-AB, the Bombay would phenotype as O blood group. Okay, but however, the transfusing the normal O group will lead to immediate cell lysis because it has IgM antibody, okay, and anti-H, which is very potent. Thus, only blood from another Bombay individual can be transfused to the recipient. Determine, now there is how you will determine the ABO and RH incompatibility. Okay, so we will deal with in detail. Determine the ABO blood group and RH status of both the donor and the recipient. Most of fatal hemolytic transfusion result from the transfusion of ABO incompatible blood. Suppose the mother with blood group O has naturally occurring anti-A and anti-B agglutinins. These antibodies are mainly IgM and they will not cross the placenta. But if the fetus happens to be either A or B, the corresponding to that father, then the immune antibodies are formed in response to the entry of either A or B antigen, bearing the fetal RBC surface into the maternal circulation, as this mainly are of IgG type. So they will cross the placenta and they will cause the fetal circulation and cause variable amount of hemolysis due to antigen antibody reaction. Okay, normally the ABO incompatibility here in the around the fetus and the mother is really very low. It is around 15%. Okay, normally the is will occur. But if RH incompatibility is more common in mother to baby one. But if we will see about the transfusion, then ABO incompatibility is more danger. Here the RH incompatibility will be more in danger. So during pregnancy, the mother and the fetus have different RH protein. This condition is known as RH incompatibility. Okay, so RH antibodies are clinically significant because they will react at 37 degree and cause in vivo red cell destruction via extravascular hemolysis, and that too mainly in the spleen. And they can also cause delay hemolytic transfusion reaction. Okay, it will not be an immediate one. And the RH antibodies which can cause will be HDN, that is hemolytic disease of newborn, and hydrocephalus, which is the most severe presentation. Normally they will have only the mild hemolytic anemia or jaundice will be there. If there is a moderate, then it is jaundice. Severe, there is a erythroblastosis fetalis, severe jaundice, kernicterus, and there is a presence of 30 to 70% normoblast in the peripheral blood smear. Now, various different type of blood grouping methods, they are various. Okay, that is slide or tile method, tube technique, microplate technique, Diamed ID microtyping system, that is gel system, glass microbead system. Okay, the most common use is the tube system, but the most advanced one and accuracy will be there, that will be the gel system. Whenever there is if we are doing any demonstration or any blood grouping, then forward and reverse blood grouping will be there. The forward will be from RBC, the reverse will be from the serum. Okay, the test should be there at the normal temperature. Quality control of antisera should be done daily. There should be a proper labeling. Tubes or slide should be clean and dry. Optimal aid should be used to examine reactions that appear negative by naked eye. Okay, then we will observe the result macroscopically, that is by the naked eye, and microscopically, that is from with the help of microscope we will see if there is any agglutination will be there or not there. Accordingly, we will write the result. If there is a hemolysis or there is an agglutination, it will be considered as a positive result. Now, my resident will demonstrate about the
in this video, I will show how to perform a blood grouping. Next, so for blood, take a tile and label it accordingly. A, B, D and C is for control. Now, with the help of a pipette, take a drop of blood in each.
Like this, we have to
take
perform
one
in your
drop
exam.
in each. Now add a single drop of anti-A in the labeled as A. Single drop of anti-B. Similarly, a single drop in of anti-D in D. And just put a drop in C. It's normal saline and it's used for control. Now stir it slightly and you can notice clumps appearing in A. While
If there is agglutination, that is
you can
clumps.
use this pipette for stirring. You can see no
In
clumps
B,
here.
there is
Discard
nothing.
this. Use another pipette to avoid cross contamination. You can see clumps forming in D. And here in control you can see no clumps. No clumps.
That means the patient don't have any antibodies
The blood group
itself.
here is A
A
positive.
and positive. Okay. Now here we have used the slide method or the tile method. Okay, because we are using the tile and we are doing it. Now it is not recommended in routine use. Why? Because the weak and reactive antigen or these cells will not be detected. Then we'll have low titer of anti-A and anti-B, and it will be mostly there with the help of naked eye. Okay, the clumps and the agglutination will be there with the help of naked eye. So it is less sensitive, and even drying up of reaction with the mixture, they can also cause false positive agglutination. Okay, so this is a method, but for you have to perform this. Okay, in blood banking they will use a tube system or the gel system for the accuracy, because that will be transferred to the patient. Okay, and it is very important that the blood grouping should be very proper so that cross match will be proper and incompatibility will not occur. Now this is a gel card or ABO system. Okay, here it is, whenever there is a positive, there will be upper line, and the negative will have the lower agglutination will be present. Here it is also A positive. A different type of system are bioplate system. And this is the fully automated system in which everything will be done, or agglutination or hemolysis like that, they will detect and they will give the result. Now it was PA 22.1 about everything about the blood group. Now it will be about the compatibility testing, that is cross matching, and about the Coombs test. So 22.2, first point we will learn about the indications and principle of major and minor cross match. Then in point 2 we will discuss about the Coombs test, its principle and its usage. 3, there is a describe the criteria of blood donor, that is donor selection and the rejection, because it is very important. Okay, the rejection criteria and the selection criteria. And the last one is about the precautions to be taken during the transfer. So first of all, what is compatibility testing? So it is also called as pre-transfusion, or it's also called as cross match, because there will be cross matching between the donor and the recipient. Recipient means the patient. Okay, it is also called as pre-transfusion because there is an antigen-antibody reaction which will occur. Why we will do it? Because we want to safely transfuse the blood. Okay, to select the blood components that will not cause harm to the recipient and will have acceptable survival when transfused. If properly performed, compatibility test will confirm the ABO compatibility between the patient and the donor, okay, and also detects the most clinically significant unexpected antibodies. Okay, if there is any unexpected antibodies, there will be incompatibility, so we will reject the sample or we will try to solve it. And why? Because to prevent any hemolytic transfusion reaction, because we are doing the blood transfusion for the patient benefit. Okay, if there is any hemolytic transfusion, then the condition will be more worse. We don't want that. So what is the principle? That is, major cross match is done to detect any serological incompatibility between donor's cell and patient serum, whereas for the major it will be to detect any serological incompatibility between patient cell and donor serum. Okay, cross match is verified with Coombs reaction to detect even incomplete antibodies. Okay, there are two type of antibodies, complete and incomplete. The complete one, okay, will be their agglutination will be present at the room temperature, their IgM type, and saline will be enough for the agglutination. Whereas incomplete antibodies, they are IgG or another type of antibodies, any weak antibodies, and they have special, that is albumin, cysteine, papain cysteine, okay, or bovine will be required, and they need the incubation period to become more stronger and to agglutinate. Okay, so they will also, that's why Coombs reagent or Coombs reaction is required. Now, what is the principle, what is the usage, and how to describe about the Coombs? So, in 1941, Coombs, Murant and Reyes described the procedure for detecting attachment of antibodies that did not produce any agglutination. Okay, and this test usually use the antibody to the human globulin, is known as antiglobulin test. In this, mostly what will happen that a rabbit or any other animal, mostly but rabbit is used, and in that the human globulin is being injected, and from there they will is called as antiglobulin, okay, or anti-human globulin. And initially it will use to detect the antibody in the serum, but later the same is used to detect the in vivo coating of the RBC. That means first there was ICT, okay, indirect Coombs, but now in vivo, that is even the direct Coombs test is being, and it is an immunohematology test which generates the visible agglutination of sensitized red cell. There are two types, direct and indirect. Indirect, it will demonstrate in vivo sensitization, whereas indirect, it will be in vitro demonstration between the RBC and the antibodies. What is the principle? Normally, what will have is that anti-human globulin will act as a bridge between and induces the agglutination of sensitized red cells. Okay, anti-immunoglobulin G combines with Fc portion of sensitized antibody, and two FB site of anti-human globulin form a bridge between what? Between adjacent AB antibody coated RBC to produce a visible agglutination. Okay. Here there is the antigen which will be there on the RBC surface, and these are the antibody which will be there in the serum. Normally there will be no agglutination, they will just bind with each other, but they won't bind, antibody won't bind with each other. So what will happen, we will use anti-human globulin, okay, it's also same structure like that of the antibody. So what will we do, they will act as a bridge. Okay, here there is antibody, here there is antibody, they will bind with both the Fc fragment and the agglutination will occur. So they will act as actually if we will say that is, they will act as a mediator. Okay. Now what are the indication of DCT for the transfusion reaction evaluation, to rule out any immune hemolysis, that is hemolytic disease of newborn, autoimmune hemolytic anemia, drug-induced hemolytic anemia, and for the positive cross-match. PCT detects the presence of any incomplete antibodies which is absorbed on the RBC surface. What is the indication of indirect test? That is for the compatibility testing, screening and identification of unexpected antibodies in the serum. Then there is a detection of RBC antigen using specific antibodies which is reacting only with antiglobulin test. That is Defi, KID, KER and Lutrin. Okay, that normally they won't be present and they won't be positive. But if we will use anti that is ekdam weak, that will be also detected here. Okay, because these all blood group are the minor ones. There is also detection of Rh antibody in the serum of Rh negative pregnant woman of the Rh positive. Now there is a demonstration of both the Coombs test and the cross matching together because there is there, and this will be presented by residents. Okay.
Now we will demonstrate compatibility test, routinely also known as cross-matching. For cross-matching, we require patient as well as donor's blood sample in EDTA as well as in plain bulb, an incubator and centrifuge machine. First, we will do antibody screening. For that, we do Coombs test. There are two types of Coombs test, direct Coombs test and indirect Coombs test. First, we will properly label all test tubes. In direct Coombs test, we require 5% red cell suspension of patient, which is prepared after washing the patient's red cell with normal saline. Now take 1 volume of anti-human globulin reagent in a clean test tube and add and add 1 volume of 5% red cell suspension of patient. Mix the content well and keep at room temperature for 5 minutes. After that, centrifuge the test tube at 1000 rpm for 1 minute. Now record the result macroscopically as well as microscopically. If agglutination or hemolysis is seen, then the test is positive, and if no agglutination is seen, then the test result is negative. For indirect Coombs test, take 1 volume of patient serum and add 1 volume of 5% washed pooled O group red cell suspension to it. Now mix well. Incubate the test tube for 45 minutes at 37 degrees Celsius. After removing the test tube from incubator, centrifuge the test tube at 1000 rpm for 1 minute. After removing the test tube from centrifuge, immediately look for agglutination. If negative result obtained, then wash the red cell thrice in saline. After third washing, add 1 volume of anti-human globulin reagent to it. solution well and incubate it for 5 minutes. Then after, centrifuge the test tube at 1000 rpm for 1 minute and record the result.
So up to it will be Coombs.
Macroscopic.
Okay, now they will use the cross match.
As well as microscopically. Now we will do the procedure of cross match. For major cross match, we will require patient serum and donor's red cell. For minor cross match, we will require patient's red cell and donor serum. This can be done by using adjuvants like saline, bovine albumin and anti-human globulin serum. We will use anti-human globulin serum.
Of the
For
donor.
major cross match, we will take 1 volume of patient serum
Both will be there in one test
and
tube.
1 volume
It is major because we are using patient
5%
serum
red
and
cell
donors
suspension.
RBC.
Mix well and then incubate it at 37 degree for 45 minutes. We have
Why we
incubated
are
this
using
mixture
anti-globulin
for
serum?
45
Because
minutes
even
at
if the
37
weak
degrees
antibodies
Celsius.
or any other blood
Now,
group antibodies
wash
that
the
can
red
also
cell
be
twice in
detected
saline and
with
then
the help
add
of this, because they will
anti-human
act as
globulin
a
serum to
bridge.
it.
Okay, that's why we are using it, because we want a safe blood transfusion. So we should want any weak antibodies that should also be detected. Okay.
Centrifuge this mixture at 1000 rpm for 1 minute. After removing it from the centrifuge, record the result macroscopically as well as microscopically. Similarly, we do minor cross match in which we take patient's red cell and donor serum.
This is a gel card method, is an advanced and a recent technique, and it is a very specific. We can perform blood grouping in gel card, antibody screening on gel card, and also a cross matching, which is a compatibility test on a gel card. Here there is A, B and D, and also here a control, which is a auto control, in which we add patient serum and patient cell and read about the result over here. This is a neutral gel card in which we perform a phenotyping and a monophasic DCT. And this card is for antibody screening and also ICT and DCT. Here we already have performed one test, and here we can show these clumps over apex, and this is in a center.
Cross matching, and also
This
there is a
center
demonstration which is there about
shows
Chapman
a
card.
positive test,
They have
and this is
demonstrated.
negative.
I already told you about A positive. Okay, if there is a A, it will be there in the center, and if it is positive, that's also in the center. Whereas B and everyone, that will be there in the bottom. There is no agglutination will be formed. If there is agglutination, it will be there in the center. And this gel card is a newer method, and this is also they have gel which will detect very nicely. And have you understood about how to demonstrate about the Coombs and the cross matching and its importance? Further, I will tell you. Okay, so demonstration of Coombs already they have done. Okay, so for DAG, actually we also take the positive and the negative control, okay, of the unsensitized cell and the sensitized cell. And as they told, okay, the resident, that you will take 5% of suspension of test cells. Along with that, AHT will be added, and they will look for the agglutination. Similar with the ICT, okay, but here they will take the serum and the pulled O cells, okay, and then they will incubate, and then they will add the antiobliculum, and then they will look for the agglutination. They have both positive and the negative control too. Now the donor criteria selection and the rejection criteria. Selection is there is a registration. You should know about the registration detail, the consent of the donor, and the demographic information, the medical history, the physical examination, and the laboratory test. So we'll see why we should know about the demographic, because we should know about the donor's name, the father's name, date of birth, age, gender, and the resident proof. It is important because if the patient will have any complaint, or if after doing the ELISA the patient is HIV positive or anything, then we can able to contact the patient, and even from the residency we can able to know how their economy is there and how their lifestyle will be there. We can have a rough idea of that. A medical interview, if they have donated the blood, then about 3 months there should be an interval be there, else it will be deferred. There should be time lapse will be there around 1 to 2 hours for the breakfast or the lunch. If any history of medicine has been taken, aspirin or though, then we have to temporarily defer the donor. Vaccinations is history depending on which type of vaccination, but generally 1 month or 6 months will be there. Any drug abuse, any convulsion or psychiatric treatment, then the donor is deferred temporarily. Jaundice or many major operation. If there is any major operation, it will be mostly for about 1 year. Minor, it will be for the 6 months. Pregnancy, breastfeeding, no, it is relatively contraindication. Up till lactating mother cannot donate. Any bacterial viral infection or any parasitic infestation, then around 7 days or up till the recovery period. You should defer the donor that you cannot donate the blood as you have this many illness or this is a problem. But permanently you have to defer, that we will tell you later. If the medical checkup up till 18 to 60 years, the donor is been taken, but the hemoglobin should not be less than 12.5. If it is less than 12.5, cannot take. Now donor deferral, that means donor is contraindicated permanently. That is if they have heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, hypothyroidism, or any other major illness. Even if there is a history of suspected professional donors, they should also be taken properly. What are the precautions to be taken whenever you are transfusing the blood? So they have a basic transfusion chain, because safety is our priority. And therefore the quality should be checked at each and every donor. That is, blood donors, that has to be checked properly. After that, the collection should be sterile and proper. Then processing should also be proper ICT, proper cross matching. Everything should be done. In collection also, it should be collected properly. Labeling should be there. Screening and testing. There are different testing available which we will do for the donors' blood before transfusion. There is HIV, HBsAg, HCV, malaria, syphilis. We will do either by ELISA or the rapid method. That should be checked. If any of the illness will be there, disease is there, we will defer the donor and we will inform the donor. Then blood cold chain, they have different refrigerator, also from minus 40 degrees, 70 degrees according to the blood components. To 2 to 8 degrees centigrade, this refrigerator will be there, because the cold chain should be proper, else the hemolysis will occur in the blood bank. And obviously the transfusion, pre-transfusion should be proper. Even at the time of transfusion, the proper precaution should be taken, and also during and after the transfusion. Why a blood component has been requested? That should be our first question. Which patient of the blood component is there? When the blood component should be administration? If there is any problem with the component, there is expiry date, discoloration of the contents, damage, packing, leaking, how long the transfusion will take? Is the compatibility of the blood grouping is being checked or not? Concern about the patient identification or any other problems of worry. your actions can make a difference. It means you have to see each and every point at each and every interval from the collection to the transfusion, also after post transfusion. Okay, please check with requesting doctor if there is possible on-call doctor or hospital blood bank staff before collecting and administering any blood component. How you will administer? Okay, whenever after 30 minutes you have checked all the detail, then ensure the patient access is there or not. Then you have to inspect the unit again. Whenever before patient is transfusing, the ward person has to inspect the unit. That is mostly the nursing staff or the doctor will do that. They will check the unit against the paperwork also. Then they will check the unit against the patient, as this would prevent giving the wrong transfusion. Fifth step, they will record the observation, that is BP, PPR, okay, everything will be taken, temperature. Then administer the blood using a administration set. They have a special administration set. They will use that. They will complete the documentation during each and every documentation. Then they will monitor and observe the patient. Okay, means will be there whenever they are observing the patient where the transfusion has happened. Then upon completion of the transfusion, dispose the sharp safely. This is from the transfusion to post transfusion they will do. Okay, after half an hour also they will observe the patient for any hemolysis or hemolytic transfusion reaction, and also for around 1 day they will observe the patient for the delayed transfusion. Okay, the last one is enumerate the steps of major and minor cross match and demonstrate the strain. This has been demonstrated by the resident. Okay, donor's RBC and the patient serum. If there is an agglutination, it will be incompatible. If there is an agglutination, it is incompatible, and if there is no, it is compatible. By major and minor, as I already discussed. Now, whenever there is a cross match, okay, it should have verify the donor cell AB compatibility. It will also detect most antibodies against the donor cell. What the cross match will not do is they will not able to detect all the antibodies, and sometimes it can also prevent the patient from developing antibody. Okay, they will not. Okay, even prevent delayed transfusion reaction cannot be done. That's why even after some period of time they will have the hemolytic picture, and they will not have the guarantee normal survival of the RBC. And normally, as I told, they will use the AHT, which is most important and widely used because it is most safest one. Now, this all demonstration has been done about the blood grouping by tile method, Coombs test, and the gel card by the resident, that is Dr. Heer, Dr. Ravina, Dr. Ruchita, Dr. Vivek from the first year, and Dr. Asha, Dr. Rhythm, and Dr. Vishaka from the second year. So they have contributed for the demonstration, and it is very good. Thank you, everyone.